about when you first heard about what happened here in Youngstown and what made you come here.
Oh, I've been in touch with a gentleman named Gary Bonanno for a long time, and he's kept us abreast of all the general kind of crime problems that plague Youngstown and Warren. And there's been a steady drumbeat of people talking about the potentiality of Guardian Angels setting up here. And then recently, when we graduated a group in nearby Newcastle, that became more of a likelihood because now we had obviously a foothold in Western Pennsylvania, and the next situation that we would address would be Youngstown and Warren. Coming on the heels of the shooting last weekend, clearly a lot more activity in terms of emails and people asking us if we might be looking to do an intervention and get a group started here.
And what would your role be in Youngstown if you came here?
Role is like it is everywhere. I mean, this is our 32nd anniversary today when I took out that very first patrol in the Bronx in New York City, and we're now in 14 countries, 140 cities. So it's to establish a patrol, but then to recruit and to train local men, women, and young adults to begin patrolling on a regular basis. So even though you may have Guardian Angels coming in from Newcastle to initially start up the effort, it's going to be incumbent that we get people from Warren and Youngstown to join so that it's a local operation on a regular basis, and it's not just outsiders coming in here to patrol the streets of Youngstown and Warren.
And how do you work with the police in each community, though? What is your role with them?
Generally, it worked quite well. That wasn't the case when I started back in 1979 or even in the 80s, where we were viewed as Hell's Angels, Vigilantes, Charlie's Angels, just angels not that were Guardian Angels. So generally, local law enforcement wouldn't work with us. But that changed in 1993 when Rudy Giuliani embraced us in New York, and then the tide turned. So out of 140 cities around the world now, most of them have a cooperative working relationship with us. In fact, to give you an idea,
how many was that again? How many?
140 cities, 14 countries. The dire locations that we've been called into of late. Camden, just a month ago, Camden, New Jersey, which per capita per person has had the worst crime rate in the last 10 years. 80,000 population. They had 400 cops. Boom, because it cuts, they're down to 200. So lawless, it's total anarchy. So we flooded in about 40 Guardian Angels from surrounding areas. So there are a lot of communities, unfortunately, in America, like Youngstown and Warren, that are not able to keep up with the crime problems because there's just no money out there.
Okay. And the other question I have, though, the crime itself at this party was a random occurrence. It really couldn't have been predicted. So how would the Guardian Angels address something like that? How would they possibly prevent something like that from happening?
Well, we have a very successful patrol up in Madison, Wisconsin, which is a party town, where there are problems off-campus, on-campus, off-campus housing, on-campus housing, and we patrol every weekend, Friday and Saturdays to the wee hours of the morning. Just any kind of a presence sometimes will prevent problems from taking place. Now, could we have prevented this kind of mass shooting that is more synonymous with somebody walking into an inner-city nightclub and just unloading with a semi-automatic weapon? You never know. But it has a definite calming effect. Fights, disputes, arguments. Because everything always starts with an argument. Somebody gets thrown out of a house party. Somebody gets thrown out of a frat house. Somebody gets thrown out of a bar or gin mill. And then they want to come back. And as you know, in a bar, gin mill, nightclub, they have security. And their whole job is keep them out. We don't care what they do out there. They can do a drive-by shooting. But a frat house, a regular house party, it's not like that. And a lot of times people come back and they wreak vengeance. And a lot of times there's shootings and stabbings and all kinds of what we call drama that unfold.
Well, what's the next step for your organization regarding Youngstown and Warren then?
Next step is really threefold. Bring in some Guardian Angels from Newcastle and begin patrolling the area.
Newcastle, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, we have a chapter.
You have a chapter there.
Right,
Okay.
we just graduated them over the summer. Bring them in, establish a presence, introduce the concept to the residents of Warren and Youngstown, then begin a recruiting process, and while doing all of that, do outreach to the local police departments, elected officials, try to get them on board. But I got to say, based on the history of Youngstown and Warren, the lack of money that all cities suffer from, I can't imagine anybody not looking forward to having a Guardian Angel group in their own communities that isn't going to cost them a nickel, dime, a penny, and it's going to be a self-help program because most of the effort is going to be coming about from local people getting involved as volunteers.